The sentence that derails your career is rarely the one you brace for. It is not the missed deadline. It is not the bad quarter. It is something you said on a Wednesday, half listening to yourself, to someone you almost trusted, about something you barely cared about. By Friday, it will be out of your head. The coworker who heard it remembers it perfectly. Kevin said it in a parking lot. He told a coworker he was updating his resume. Casually, the coworker nodded. They walked back inside together. 6 weeks later, in a room Kevin will never sit in, a flattened, edited, summarized version of that sentence decided which stretch project he would never get. His work did not save him. His sentence did the damage. There is one filter, not a list, one question that decides whether the building ever builds a file like Kevin's on you. This is the layer of work nobody briefs you on. You spend years building a reputation through the things you produce. You lose it in throwaway moments. The break room, the 11 p.m. Slack message, the hotel bar after the off-site night when everyone stopped editing themselves, the lunch table where everyone laughs a little too quickly and watches each other for weak points, the parking lot conversation Kevin had, the one that walked back inside, told one peer, climbed 2 ears higher than Kevin will ever know, and landed on the person who would silently decide his next 2 years. Kevin never finds the thread back to it. In 2026, this problem has teeth it did not used to have. A comment muttered in a 2015 hallway, disintegrated by lunch. The same comment in 2026 lives inside a transcript your manager opens on the morning he picks whose role disappears. None of this requires a villain. It needs a structure that rewards precisely what it was built to reward, and people surviving inside it the only way it lets them survive. The rule beneath the whole thing is this: the moment a sentence exits your mouth, it changes hands. The meaning belongs to whoever repeats it. The tone belongs to whoever rephrases it. The audience belongs to whoever decides to forward it. It now belongs to the building, and the building keeps a file. The file is the part nobody shows you. Every personal sentence, your resume hint, your money panic, your opinion of the VP, your divorce, your medication, your exit dream, gets lifted out of the room you said it in. It loses your tone. It loses your context. It loses your trust in the person who heard it. What enters the file is the shortest, sharpest version that still makes sense without you in the room. That version travels. It travels through meetings you will never see on your calendar, between people who do not owe you the courtesy of telling you they discussed you. And eventually, 6 weeks later, someone in a calibration meeting reads a single sanitized sentence and decides which projects quietly vanish from your pipeline. Kevin's file had been building for months. The resume hint was the line that closed the question. You will never see the transcript. You will not even know there was a transcript. Now ask the question almost nobody asks out loud. Why do coworkers do this? The cruelest part of the mechanism is that they like you while it is happening. Information is the only currency colleagues without authority can spend. Knowing one personal detail about you is one of the few status moves available to someone equally squeezed. Passing that detail upstairs is how a coworker without authority earns the smallest piece of power by proximity. It is how they get pulled into rooms they have not earned yet. They are not betraying you. They are paying the rent the building charges them to be remembered. 3 sentences the building turns into traps faster than anything else. Same mechanism each time. People only notice after the file is closed. Trap 1. The job search hint. Kevin's parking lot sentence. It feels like venting. It sounds like solidarity. Mechanically, it is a permission slip. You told the building it can stop investing in your future without feeling guilty. The stretch project goes to Marcus. Your name slides off the succession slide. You are still employed. You are already gone in their heads. A hint dropped early is a quiet exit note read only by the people who decide your next 12 months. Trap 2. The money panic. The joke about rent going up. The line about the car that finally died. The I'm one paycheck away from disaster. You said it because everyone seemed to be struggling, and admitting it felt like solidarity. What it installed is a visible floor that everyone above you can now negotiate from. It does not take cruelty for a manager to use this. All it takes is the memory of one detail surfacing the next time someone is calibrating how hard to push you, how thin an offer to extend, how late they can keep you in the building. The colleagues who look like they could walk away get handled carefully. The colleagues who look cornered get handled differently. Once that handling starts, it does not reset. Trap 3. Your real opinion of leadership. The most expensive sentence at work. It feels safe because the table is nodding back. Frustration with management is the cheapest bonding ritual in any office. So Christine starts. Marcus agrees. Kevin escalates. Suddenly, Kevin has put on the table exactly what he thinks about the VP, who somehow signs off on every idea that lands upstairs. What Kevin cannot see is which of those three coworkers shared a lunch with that VP the week before. The comment does not arrive as betrayal. It simply circulates. That is enough. From then on, they do not push back. They do not argue. They quietly file it. Replies to him come slower. His ideas show up in the recap with someone else's name attached to them. The project everyone assumed was his goes to someone else. They will tell him it was timing. They will tell him it was poor strategic fit. They will tell him it was someone else's turn. It was the sentence. None of this is carelessness. It is a human being trying to feel seen inside a building engineered for ranking, not belonging. The structure does not punish you for trying. It uses what you leave behind. And every other expensive sentence works the same way. Mental health shared in the wrong meeting installs a filter inside your colleagues' heads that they will use to read you for the rest of your time in that role. A bad day becomes a symptom. A disagreement becomes instability. A request for space becomes a paragraph in a document. A messy divorce, a parent halfway through chemo, a teenager getting into trouble at school. Those become a lot going on. And that phrase sounds gentle, but it is not. You become the person they do not want to bet on right now. A surgery you mentioned, a chronic condition you needed to explain, a medication that wrecks your mornings. Those become a quiet reason during the next restructuring round, said with real concern in someone's voice. Concern in that meeting performs the same job as a vote against you. Your stitches dissolve. The notation does not. Now the part that changes everything. Most career advice on this topic is a list. 12 topics to avoid. 15 things never to say. 28 phrases that will ruin your reputation. Lists do not work. A list assumes you will remember it in the moment a coworker leans in and asks how you are doing. You will not. Nobody scrolls a mental checklist before they open their mouth. The thing that works is one filter. Now that you know how the file gets built, here is the single shift that changes what enters it. The filter question. Before any sentence leaves your mouth at work, run it through one test. Strip the tone, strip the context, strip the trust you have in the person hearing it. Now picture that bare screenshot version of your sentence traveling through 6 conversations you will never hear, landing in a file your manager will skim on the morning he is deciding whose role to keep. Can you survive it in that form? If the answer is no, the sentence stops at your teeth, not softened into a hint, not joked into a deflection, not whispered to one person you trust more than the others, not said. That is the whole filter. It is not a list of forbidden topics. It is one question asked in real time, every time. The people who learn to ask it quietly stop disappearing from futures they thought they were building. The people who refuse to ask it spend years wondering why things shifted on them for reasons that never got named. Notice what the filter is not. It is not a vow of silence. It is not paranoia. It is not deciding nobody at work can be trusted. People who try to hide everything become their own kind of suspicious, and isolation has its own cost. The filter is not say nothing. The filter is say less of the kind of thing the building was built to use. You can still be warm. You can still be liked. You can still be the person others want in the room. You stop being the person whose sentences keep traveling without you in them. Because here is the part nobody says out loud. Your career is not built only by what you produce. It is built by the version of you that other people circulate when you are not in the room. The building collects those versions quietly. It keeps the sharpest cut. It hands the surviving version to the people who will decide whether you climb or quietly drift. You do not get to edit that process. You do not even get to see it. You only get to choose what you feed into it. Go back to the parking lot. Kevin's sentence was a throwaway. He does not remember saying it. He does not remember the co-worker's expression. He cannot point to the meeting where his next 2 years got decided. That is the design. The system will not get kinder. It will not start protecting your honesty. It was never built to. It was built to sort you, rank you, and decide what to do with you. Every sentence you give it becomes one more data point it gets to use however it wants. You cannot out-argue the building. You cannot out-charm it either. You only get to outlast it. And you only outlast it by handing it less raw material to work with. Every sentence you swallow is a page the file never gets to add. Let the file run out of paper. If parts of this video pulled your memory back to specific moments, particular people, particular sentences you would now pay to take back, that pull is not paranoia. That pull is the proof. The system already has more on you than you should have ever given it. You are not alone in having overpaid. The only variable still under your control is the next sentence you have not said yet. Start there. Say less. Let them speculate. Let the file on you stop adding pages. Because the version of you that exits that building with a career still attached is not going to be the smartest one in the room. It is not going to be the hardest working one. It is not even going to be the most liked one. It is going to be the one they could never build a file against. If this filter just shifted the way you look at your last conversation at work, the next door to open is the rule book nobody handed you on day one. The handbook taught you the rules. The building runs on a second set. The video on screen right now breaks down how that hidden rule book gets written, who decides what counts as good, and why employees who play the visible game keep getting passed over. The most useful part lands halfway through. The exact moment in your week where the hidden rule book is being applied to you, and how to read it in real time. Open it next.